everyone. Happy Monday. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our lunchtime live. I hope your week is starting well. I took 1 day break from the YouTube videos, so I'm all refreshed and ready. And today we are talking about a very crucial and important topic. We're talking about marrying a Ukrainian lady with uh, one to several children, pros and cons. It's also could be called as dating Ukrainian women and being 60 plus. I know that's a big, there is a big, a lot of people who would be in that category because of that's what's time in their life and they're contemplating. So let's talk about this. But before I start, please let me know if you can hear me well. I would like to know that you can hear me well before I start. It's a very interesting topic. It's probably going to be longer or more than one video with this. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. So, let's talk about the negative or unknown. About, hello, Terry. Thank you. Uh, Negative or unknown about dating a lady who have child or children. So, I would say number one, it might not just be for you if you don't like children, if you've never been around children, if you are the kind of guys that you think that, oh, children should only be my genetics, or nobody needs this kind of women, they are all horrible. There is a whole movement against women with children, and it's so funny to me because women supposed to have children. If you dating or seeing somebody over 25, 30 years old, it's more strange if they had never been married and if they never had children. I would be a little bit concerned because it means that for some reason nobody claimed them till that late. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, it doesn't mean that they're not worthy, but it means that they probably having a trauma because it didn't happen yet. As you know, Ukrainian and Russian cultures are more traditional, so therefore Ukrainian ladies feel more self-conscious when they are reaching the age of 35 and they had not have a child yet or never been married. So once again, it is very individual, and I'm not saying this from the point of judgment by any size, shape, or form, but I'm saying this as a reality check. Um, Especially if you are in your 50s or 60s, you're looking for no virgin at this point. You're not gonna find a girl who is age appropriate, who've never been in a relationship and never had children. It's possible that she didn't have children, but it's more of a trauma than a problem. Unless that was her conscious decision, which also very often, when the woman had a conscious decision to never have children, that a lot of times uh, points out that she is a very career oriented, or she is very creative, or she loves to be free, or it's not that easy for her to give. So that's something to consider. What are also the other difficulties? I hope you have no questions about this. So if you're not into children, if you don't care about it, if you are obsessed about, your genetic, or whatever else, this video is not for you. Just switch off, go to MGTOW or whatever it is. Because those men absolutely hate women. So this channel is about loving and embracing femininity and masculinity. Welcome, 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 guys. Welcome, everyone. So the difficulties, of course, there is a chance that you might not find, a common language with with children. It might be, you might need a little bit more time to get to know them. It's just all this getting to know things. Uh, you do want to be find common ground. You do want to be a good role model. Of course, also that you will need to have more finance. You have to be a very responsible person. You will have to, what else? Yes, you have to be ready for it. You have to be ready for it financially, mentally, emotionally. And if you are, then uh, we're gonna this video is for you, because the majority of the time we're gonna talk about these bonuses for a reason, because once again, if you're not into this, it's not gonna be interesting for you. There are also formal things such as documents and permissions. You have to be very careful when your lady tells you about her, if she was married or if the father of the children is somewhere around. You will need that paper from him to for children to be able to leave the country. So that is a very important thing, not to be overlooked. And for that matter, you need to ask that early. Some fathers already have another woman in another family, so some of them actually do not pay child support. They already signed the paper, and it's notary. It's official by a notary, and the paper says that the dad has no official responsibility for this child. So you need that paper, even if the father is around, but he's not paying child support, he's not part of their life. A lot of times in Ukraine, when man is living, he's living and he's gone. So I know in the United States, a lot of times people just having all those arrangements and weeks here, weeks there, but over there is a lot of times when he's gone, and sometimes he doesn't want to pay, which is, you know, which is between God and them, right? We're not gonna put any judgments today on that. So it's actually good for you, because if she has that paper, that is wonderful. If she doesn't, you will have to figure out how you give that paper. Of course, if he is they never had a dad, or if he died, that's a different set of papers that also will uh, solve the question. So guys, I hope this makes sense. I'm really trying to let you know that there are more angles than just one to look at certain things. All right. I want to thank Terry Bags. Thank you so much, Terry Bags. Thank you for your generous support for the channel. And Terry is saying, let's see what Terry is saying. Terry is saying, beautiful country and culture. Thank you, Terry. That is so nice of you to say. Thank you. Have you been to Ukraine yet? I hope that you if you hadn't, that you will do it this year. So I'm trying to get the negative things out. The not just negative, but rational and practical. So of course, if you're marrying a lady with children, there are more expenses, more responsibilities. You have to figure out the official part with her to make sure that she's able to leave the country. And number one, most important thing, you need to make sure that she is real. Unfortunately, scammers very often manipulate you with those little children. Warning, warning, warning. I want to give you as much value as I can. I really appreciate your support and dedication to this channel. So sometimes, and this story happens often, because in my emails I get stuff all the time, how they make you feel as if you're already involved in their child's life, but they do this, they do the same thing with all the other guys that writing them. So this advice is only about ladies that you met, you've been with, and you crazy about her. She is first, children come after her. She is a package deal because you can't separate women and minor children. But once again, um, you have to make sure she is a real person. You have chemistry. You would date her if she would have no children too. Because let me tell you, there are men that are more into children than into women. It's not healthy. Because you're gonna live your life with a partner. You're not, you know, it's not an adoption center, it's a family. But it starts, if you don't have love and chemistry and understanding with a lady, you will not have a good family. It all starts with her. So now let's talk about the good part. Let's talk about the part uh, that is inspiring, that gives hope, and that personally, I think is very important to consider. So now the good stuff. For Call Me Dad is saying, if the stepsons or daughters are not mine and are already teenagers, how do I develop a good relationships with them? Well, just like you would uh, with any other people. You get to know them, you learn how to be um, their friend, just having genuine interest in, and no pushing, no forcing, just having genuine interest in them and showing in them support. That's all. Showing support, not trying to get into into the business, just being a support and have a genuine interest. There are very few people you cannot make connections with if you showing genuine interest. People are so much likely to open up and talk to you. And even then, that teenagers, they still would appreciate and need that support, because this is where they becoming that very difficult time when you from the child you become an adult. It's a difficult time, so your wisdom, your support, your kindness, getting to know them, and that's all. So let's talk now. Okay, Terry is saying not yet. Met a lot of Ukrainian people. Oh wow! Thank you so much, Terry. It's so nice to hear good feedback. Um, I've almost never hear anything in the middle. Even Israel people had not so good experience and they are really, mad about it, or they had a wonderful experience and they love the culture and the values, and it's always inspiring. But I also understand that um, there are different sides to the medal, and I made a video about certain things that could be improved in Ukraine. So it's not, I would not paint and say, oh, everything is perfect. No, it's not perfect. But there's a lot of good values still that Americans could benefit from. I am almost American myself right now. So it's like you have your core, but you evolve, you discover another mentality, and you form into somebody else. So that's what you will observe with your wife. She will change, but a lot of times she will change for better. So let's talk about the good stuff. I can't wait to share the good stuff, even though it does sound very responsible. If you bring a lady, she has kids and all of that. Let's talk a little bit about the dating for men who are a little bit older, because I have a lot of men who follow me that are kind of going for a second chance or third chance, because either they had a not so happy marriage, or they've never been married, or their wife died, or something like that. So when you are in your 50s and 60s and you maybe did not have any children, and you start to feel pretty lonely, especially for those men who are successful, for those men who pursued their career. So one of the main reason why they did not get married or did not have any children is because they were working. I already know how American how shall I say it, American mentality works, how business is run, 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 run. And a lot of men finding themselves in that middle age group, realizing that, oh my God, yes, I have the money in the bank, I built a business, I have a home, I have comfortable life, but I really don't have anybody to share that with. And also I don't have anybody to give it uh, to pass it when it will be my time to go, because at some point every single one of us will have the time where it's time to go. And it's not only about the financial part, like finance, accounts, houses, but it's also the knowledge you have, the things you learn, the experiences you had. I'm starting to understand a lot of these things. You want to pass it to somebody, and somebody who will appreciate that. And sometimes you just don't have that. You don't have that luxury. Another thing is, if you considering a child, and maybe you have a thing going on in your family where maybe uh, you have a possibility of having a child with autism, or you have a some other hereditary uh, genetical disease that go from generation to generation, and you just afraid. It's also something to consider. Even though men can still take part in conceiving a child that late in life, in the 50s and 60s, but I'm sorry to tell you this, but you can talk to your doctor and they will tell you that the quality of things, so to speak, not it can be great, but there is a big chance that the child might have some defects or genetical things going on. And uh, it's sad, but it's also something to consider. It's something to consider. It's life. So if you are in that situation, considering adopting a mother, uh, children that already has a mother, and the mother that you love, not just any mother, um, it's almost like you're going for an instant family, which, if you truly, if you say that you are lonely, if you say that you are um, you feel depressed, and you are lonely, and you just facing basically soon the final curtain, and you realize for some men are so, some people in general are so far away, they just so into their work and other passions, and that's okay. But there's still a lot of men who would like to have, would feel a lot more fulfilled in life, because there is a big difference. When you're young and you're single, you have whole world at your feet. You can travel, you have friends, you have career. It's like family is in a way uh, on your way. Let's face it. This is why it is so difficult when you are young and you're building your career and you try to raise a family, and it feels like a crazy circle that never ends for many people. It's true. But sometimes when you never had that experience, you wonder how that would be. And I think that every single person has a chance, Every single person, when they really want something, they have a chance. And in this case, considering somebody who wants you and you want them, that is a win-win situation, because the children and well, first of all, you will have a wife and you will have children that already here. It don't matter, it doesn't matter what the history behind it, but they're already here and they need love and support. And you want to give it, because the more people I talk to, the more I realize that a lot of people acquired a lot of things, but they are so unhappy because they do not have somebody to inherit it, somebody to continue after they are gone. And meanwhile, while they are alive and fully functioning, they want to share that joy. Yes, sometimes when you are very busy, you dreaming about a break. Like when you have a big family, for you to just go to supermarket, or when you have a newborn, just to go out and do your hair, or go out to the gym or for a walk by yourself. It's like a national holiday. But when you never have it, when you never had it, uh, you feel that emptiness inside of you. And it's not a popular topic to talk about, and it's not something you often want to talk with other people, because the culture of small talk, you only would maybe share this with your close friends, just sharing that you feel lonely, you feel that you have so much to give, you have so much to give, and you don't want this to die and to go to nowhere, and you don't want to uh, give your money to the families that not even talking to you, maybe. Like, for example, you would like to leave it to somebody who you trust, who you know, and things like that. It's a big topic, guys. I probably will make part two, part three, and things like that. I'm gonna read a few comments. Okay, Aaron is saying an excellent topic, Veronica. Good, good to know. The woman with adorable children is a win-win situation. But I have dated Ukrainians with children, and they can be okay. I have a concern that the biological father has issues of the child. Oh, of the child and mother relocating to America. Your thoughts? I've already answered that, Aaron, in the beginning, but I'll tell it to you. I'll share it with you again. So, that's something that you need to ask. That is something that you need to bring up, and there is a paper that the father needs to sign. A lot of fathers are not in the picture. A lot of fathers are having already another family, and they can even be living in another city. A lot of times, unfortunately, in Ukrainian and Russian reality, once man marrying another woman, sometimes he will raise her children even though they're not his biological, and he will forget about his own, or he will have his more children with another woman, but a lot of times he is not in the picture. So yes, if you would have an active father, then that would be a problem. But I say 70-80% of in these situations, they are not active fathers. They may be never been married. They may be gone for a long time. So it's not something you ask on the first date. I would not recommend saying, hey, tell me that. It's very intimate question. But it's something you ask when you develop an interest, you have trust with the person, and you just say, what if you will have an opportunity? What would you do? What their dad would say. And she'll tell you, oh, I have a paper. He A lot of men refuse to pay child support, so they write a paper that they decline the right to for their child. And it's so incredibly insane. But they would write a paper that they this is this is no longer, they're no longer responsible for this child, and they are done. So if she has that paper, you're good to go. I have a client who uh, his fiance have had that paper because the father of the child just told her, I'm done, I'm leaving here, and signed the paper. It happens a lot. So yeah, if the father would be, once again, super active, that would be difficult. But you have to ask. In the most cases, if the father is active, they are still married, so she would not be on the market. That's the reality. It's not like in US. In United States, you have all these laws, you have all these things that uh, are mandatory through the court, and you have all those custody things, and it's not nearly as regulated in Ukraine. Basically, for the most part, children are the woman's problem, period. Which shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this because it takes two to create them, right? So it shouldn't be this way, but it is this way. For the most part, once again. All right, we have some disrespectful people here. Let's see what we can do about this. We're gonna have them report. The report. So that's what we do on this channel. And then what we do, we put them with time. Yes. I don't want to say anything inappropriate today. Oh, that's what we're gonna do. Oh, how sad. How sad. Yeah, I don't, I realize that trolls are, they do not deserve our attention. So, guys, thank you so much for your comments. Let me read some more comments. Who else is here? Who is with me today? Um, uh, there are gonna be more aspects of this, but the bottom line is this: if you truly are a caring person, if you truly do want to have children, if so happened that in your life till later you were not able, or maybe you have grown child or grown children, they are out of the house and you just miss it, you feel like you want to be young again, and having biological children at in your 50s and 60s can have a lot of issues. I'm not going to go into this, but I hope you understand that it's not impossible. Some people do it, but it has a lot of issues and complications. We can talk about this in another video. But if you are the nurturing kind, if you are the kind of man that just always wanted to come home, you are tired to come home and somebody waiting for you, all you've been doing your life, all your life you've been working, running, and you already have financially everything you wanted, you have more than enough, and you want to share it. You feel that it would be so much more fun to share with somebody. It would be so much more fun to make somebody else happy and excited and feel like your life had an impact. In America, people talk a lot about changing, changing lives and changing the world. But believe me, uh, if you adopt a child, you are changing the world. I'm gonna say this again. If you are adopting a child, this is where you change the world. Because these children that getting love, they're not gonna grow up hating others. They not gonna grow up hurting others. They're gonna be good citizens. I've always thought about that. When you are a good parent, whether it's your biological or adopted child, this is how you change the world. Your business company might, if you own a business or career, you're gonna be replaced when you retire. If you have a business, your business might not make it past you. But when you raise a good child, when you put your love into that being, when you had great experience, when you show the child what love is, it's very possible that 30, 40 years after, when this child grows up, this world will be a better place because one day you took a chance. It's very possible. I have such incredible admiration for people and mothers and families who often have their biological children and they adopt children. I truly believe that's one of the most incredible thing anybody can do. Um, Whether you adopt together as a couple or you meet somebody who already have child or children, I think it's absolutely incredible thing to do. So this is my personal opinion. A lot of men say that they want to have a child, but they are child themselves. No offense, but a lot of men need to grow up. A lot of women need to grow up too because they're not very good mothers or examples as well. So it takes maturity, responsibility, and the desire to give. If you the person who enjoy giving, who just thrives in that kind of dynamic, you might discover, it's like you will discover the whole new world. Thank you, Stan. It is a good topic. It's all about love today. Lawrence, who are you to say who is good for who? How many children or marriages you have had? You can date or marry anybody you want, but you do not set up the rules for somebody. Some men are not even able to have kids. Some men have genetic disease that are very, very serious, and it's better if they don't take a risk and not have a child because there is a huge risk of certain uncurable disease and things like this. Uh, some men just never met a good woman before later in life. Who are you to put people down because they are married or divorced? If person is divorced, it doesn't mean it's a bad person. You gotta first have some experiences to add to your to your life before you can judge it. I shared my story, so does it make me defective and unwanted? I can prove you wrong on that one very easily. In fact, when you do what you love, when you walk in the mission, when you give love people that you already have, you might become more desirable with time than you ever was. And children are not something to be ashamed of. Children is our future. A lot of couples, especially men, um, a lot of men, especially this kind of movement, oh, children are a trap, they convince their partners, their women, to not have children. And it is so devastating because every single woman that is feminine, you know, there are a few exceptions, but generally, every single woman that is feminine, deep inside, she wants to be a mother. But a lot of women sacrifice that desire because the man saying, well, we don't need children. And if I've seen that there are even some channels of people that having that relationship, they're not married and they do not have any children. So guess what is gonna happen to that lady after 10, 15 years. She will be past she will be past the time where she can continue herself and and reproduct. And then she's also not married, so whatever happens to that man, if she suddenly dies or whatever happens, she's outside. She has no home, she has no insurance, she has no social security, but she gave you 10, 15, 20 years of her top life where she could produce, make you happy, have great sex with you, have great friendship with you. So um it's very unfair, and I hope that women get enough of self-esteem to not agree being with a man that can offer them nothing. I don't know how many women are watching me. I know it's mostly men, but I truly hope that at some point women can get self-esteem where they do not give the best of themselves to the man that gives them and offers them absolutely nothing. No security, no protection, no desire having children, having sex for the sake of having sex. But guess what? One day you're old. One day you old, period. And then you have nothing. I have a friend who she has two beautiful sons right now. And so happened that their marriage lasted about 15 years. Um, she was from Ukraine, he's from here. Their marriage lasted a long time. It was a very fruitful marriage. It was, they had challenges, but they were a gorgeous couple. They ended up separating. They have two children. He never wanted to have children. He only wanted to have, fun and sex. That's just the reality. He is like Italian kind of guy. And if she would listen to him and she would shut down her desires right now, she would be woman who is turning 50 was no children and nothing. Her sons are absolutely out of this world, very, very handsome, very successful, very talented, and now they are the light in his life because he doesn't have anything else. And now they can both after a time recover and have another partner. But she told me that I'm so happy that I didn't listen to his let's just have sex plan, because I would have nothing left. Yeah, it's very easy to just get into this world of uh, living for today, but there is also tomorrow. There is also tomorrow. And if you have a great relationship with somebody, uh, children add, they don't take from it, they really add to it. It's always something funny, there is always something hilarious that they are doing. It's never a dull moment. Never. It depends on the child you have, but it's never a dull moment. I'm just saying. Aaron, children in their 20s are not teenagers. Teenagers are children, as you know, under the age of 20. Um, if they are over 20 years old, you should only make visa first for her, because if it is a K1, as far as I know, minor children are minor children are required to be with her on the visa. She can't just leave children and go away. But if if they are older, if they're in their 20s, you can find a way for them to come and visit. But first, I would say, make friendship with them, make trust with them. But you required by the law just to have making visa for her. I'm not even sure if you can invite them because they are over 18 years old, so they are grown individuals. She's no longer legally responsible for them. If they want to come to United States, there are probably ways to how to say this, reconnection of the family. I forgot. The best I can say now is reconnection of the family, and green card, and there are ways to bring them, but they have their own life. They are over 20, over 18. They are not teenagers. If they teenagers, they are under 18 years old. They are still on their mom's. They're gonna be still going with their mom's name. They are still basically attached to their mother. She's not leaving. I know some examples when women are, leaving their children, and I am absolutely against it. It's a horrible, it's an awful thing to do. um I had a client. She came here a long time ago, and it was a very difficult time. It was 90s. It was an awful time in our country. I kind of remember it, but I was too young to really understand what's going on. So she came here at a time, and she left her son. She couldn't bring him, and she left her son. He was 10 years old. And even though she built things for him and she did stuff, she's successful now. But when she were telling me her story, it was just raining, and I'm about to start crying now. You never want to separate, because there is nothing like, there is nobody else in the world who can love your child, as if you are a mother or father. You don't ever want to leave your child in a forming years, if you have a choice. I'm not judging her. I know why she done it, but I can understand her heart probably was just torn apart. I mean, so that you don't want, and you cannot separate a mother and a minor child. All right, how is everybody doing? I see we have a lot more people. Привет, привет, сердцеед. Привет. Welcome. Every living soul is a blessing from God. Loving her child could be the key to mother's heart for a suitor. That is very, very true. If you genuinely love your child, um, guess what? But first, you need to make sure that you are compatible. That's really, really important with her. Yeah. Aaron is saying a good woman is hard to find even in Ukraine. Very true. The good compatible woman that also wants you. It is hard to find. It is, a treasure. So why not accept a partner and her children, younger children? Because young children can be reshaped mentally. Yes, absolutely. I'm saying it's not for everybody. Um, it's not for everybody. I'm just reading, guys. Everybody has their past, everybody has their desires. You have to be. Oh, am I off? Is my connection off, guys? Oh, no, no, no. Terry is talking about that she won't be. Yes, the lady I was talking about, well, she has her son right now, but he's a grown man. And unfortunately, when he was growing up without her. But she did that to be able to feed him. And so it is what it is. But I could not do it. I think if I would have to do something like this, many women would have a heart attack or something. I cannot imagine that. But it's a sacrifice. Now he has a good life, but there is no universal way of doing things. You have to listen, what inside of you. You have to connect with that. There is no universal. Um, right thing to do. You have to be conscious about what you're doing and listen to your own voice. Well, Lawrence, you can adopt a child when you get married. You can have your own, and adopt. It doesn't hurt. It's always a good idea as long as people are loving, capable, and um, that's what they really want to do. And yes, you do have heart for children. I know that already. I appreciate your support and encouragement for Ruslan. He really appreciate that. It's true. It's true. So when you have that calling, it just you want to do it when the time is right, and nobody else knows when the time is right. It's only you. It's only you. So good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you find some useful pieces in this information. um, I really like that we have a discussion. King Nero is saying lots of single moms in Russia, and the women are a lot better at dating than in America. I can tell you that. Yes, probably it's true. I think women just appreciate men more in general. I think one of the attractive things about, Russian and Ukrainian and Slavic women in general is that they have respect and they're not trying to compete with men. They realize that we are not competing. It's the craziest thing that in Western society they trying to teach us that we are competing. We are not competing. We allowing you to compete for us. I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I'm not. Um, I think that initial respect, initial appreciation, and that feminine energy, I think that's um, what make Ukrainian women attractive to Western men. And I really think this is you can find a gorgeous woman here in US. Sometimes I go to certain events, black tie events, somewhere where there are some students or whatever. I see beautiful girls and beautiful women here and there, but the thing is that a lot of modern girls, they don't have the culture. They don't would not know the first thing to I'm in shock to imagine what's going to happen to these girls who are now in their teens and early 20s. Like, what kind of mothers and grandmas? Are going to be no more grandma cookies. They're going to I'm just terrified to imagine, what kind of grandparents these girls are going to be, because a lot of them do not know how to even take care of their own room. It's just they don't know how to cook whatsoever. And it's not about the food itself. It's about that nourishment. It's about that sweetness. There is nothing like grandma's cookies, or grandma's cook. That when I go shopping, I always get this vanilla candles. They're like, I think they're called sugar cookie vanilla. Oh my god. I don't buy a lot of baked stuff, only for maybe the holidays sometimes, but I love it. And so, so I burn these candles and my entire house smells like cinnamon, vanilla, grandma cookie. Oh, it feels like heaven. So I'm really concerned about, like, when these ladies have children, I wonder if they're gonna have any of the experiences that we had. We who had grandmas and grandpas, I don't think their kids will have any of those experiences, and this is really sad. Do you guys agree? What do you think about it? So you have a chance to raise some good future. You have a chance to raise these little humans into um smart, kind, and talented individuals that know how to bake, know how to nurture, all of that. Well, chocolates that you buy, Lawrence, are good, but nothing compares with your grandma or mom's cooking. It's there is nothing like that. Oh, I have somebody messaging me some questions. Let me see. I have one of my clients messaging. Okay, I'll check it out. I'm gonna answer a few questions, guys, and I'm gonna go. It's so nice to see you and be able to reconnect with you. Um, hey, Bill Howard, you're welcome. I'm happy to explore in this sensitive topic, and it's gonna be a lot more on that information. Thank you, Lawrence, for the kind. Oh my God, no, no, sorry, it's Google. Oh my goodness, it's Google. I thought maybe I'm getting arrested. It was like, okay, let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Сердцеед вдохновитель. If you have something to add, you're very welcome to do so. And um, yes, I'm glad you understand me. Oh, Terry is saying it was a difficult time in Ukraine at that time. I'm sure she didn't have much choice. I'm glad she was able to see him again. Yes, 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 it's true. I mean, she did not, and she was. I respect her power, but I'm just saying, it's just I can't even imagine in my worst nightmare how that feels. Whew. It makes you really appreciate, all the things that we take for granted every single day. I'm gonna read some of the comments, and then I have some messengers with comments. I don't know if I can still have time to do it. Brian is saying you are right. Very difficult to get visa for adult child. Yeah, adult child, they are basically an adult. So that's a chain migration. It's a whole different subject. Yep. But you don't need to. So if she has adult children, that's okay too. As long as you have the finance to come and visit, and they might not want to come here, they might want to come here at some time, but they should have their own life. You know, um, yes. If you're over a certain age, uh, over 18, you should be able to have they should be able to have their own life, and she should live for herself. I want to tell you guys something. Soviet, Russian, Ukrainian women did not master the art of self-care, self-preservance, um, self-interest, and things like that. They were always taught to serve, to take care, and basically to slave for their children and their husbands. And I know it sounds like, oh, great, that would be nice. But when the person does all the time for you, when they don't have, when they feel guilty to do something nice for themselves, eventually it's going to get drained. Eventually she will have nothing else to give. So that is another topic. I was considering making video about this, about self-care. I still have, when I try to take some time for myself or do something which I know perfectly that I deserve, but there is still this voice inside of your head. Well, what, you are meditating? Oh, don't you know you have to make this and this call, and you have to do this with your child, and you have to go here, and sometimes you literally have to tell your voice to shut up, because we were not brought up, because I was raised by, in post USSR reality, by the woman who, was raised in that. And so sometimes you have tremendous amount of guilt and shame, and some women could marry for the second time. Their children are grown, but now their children have children, so they becoming grandmothers, and those little children, they feel like now they own their time to their grandchildren, and their children are offended that they are not uh, taking care of their grandchildren. So basically, you do not get a life. And I think it's really false, because young people need to remember that they having children for themselves. And your mother does not owe your mother, or the grandmother, she's not, she if she raised you, if if a woman raised a child or son who, or daughter who is 18, it's like, adios. Good love, goodbye, my love, goodbye. It's time for you to build your own life. Yes, you want to have family, you want to see them, but a lot of times, still, women will sacrifice their second chance for happiness, for love, for joy, because they feel obligated to raise the grandchildren. And this is so insane and so wrong. It is so wrong. Because everybody has a chance to live their own life. Okay, Lawrence is saying, in Spanish community, Mother's Day is a big deal. We recognize and honor all the love, compassion, and sacrifice a mother endures. Well, that is wonderful, Lawrence. That that sounds good to me. Well deserved. Brian, I don't answer questions about my son on this live stream. Right. Stan is saying, if you have to raise your own grandchildren, then something went wrong raising your own children. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it's different when you bring them for a weekend or for the summer. I mean, it's awesome. I know that grandparents love spending time with their kids. I can only imagine that. But yeah, I think if everybody would take care of themselves, it would be a better world. People say it's selfish to take care of you, but it's not. Because if every single person in this planet makes sure they are okay, they would not become a problem for the other person. I think taking care of you is an ultimate goal, and then worrying about the wife and the children. So this is bottom line. It's not for everybody. I'm not trying to advocate and say that in the terms of, oh, that's what you need to do. Please don't quote me, when your life is miserable and you have 5 kids. Don't say that Veronica Olson said that's the key to happiness. No, I don't believe that this is the key to happiness. It's requires certain personality traits. It requires certain dedication and certain dream. Maybe this is not your dream. Maybe you're totally fine by yourself. Maybe you don't want to be responsible. Maybe you want to do what you want to do. Maybe you want to sleep till 1 p.m. on Saturday. Well, you might as well forget about this for like 18 years or something like that. So you have to decide for yourself. I'm by any chance I'm not trying to push it. It's not something that can be pushed. I also don't believe that there are any restrictions. And I saw what Lawrence wrote about the question of being divorced. I think that people who'd never been married can marry somebody with children, because what if you meet the woman or man of your dreams, and that's your chance. There is not, I mean, you can choose not to. I believe everybody is free to choose what they love, but very often when you say things like this, it means that there is a big lack of life experience. Sometimes you run into a person that you will never meet again in your life. There are people one in a million, and there are also people one in a lifetime. Sometimes you meet somebody and it's once in a lifetime. They might have three children, they might have a broken leg, they might have physical disabilities, they might have other issues, they might be broke, they might be whatever else, but you just know. I would not put restrictions, I would put trust inside. Once again, you are your best guidance. A lot of people are trying to be with somebody who do not want them. And this is a major problem. A lot of people try to force themselves when it's obvious that they are not wanted. That is a problem. And this is again when critical thinking is required. I feel like critical uh, critical thinking is a lost art. Do you guys agree? Am I just making this up? But I often think that critical thinking is becoming a lost art. Thank you guys for the kind words. Thank you so much. Lawrence is saying, you're absolutely right, Veronica. I've never been married and I've been in a few affairs. Perhaps said that out of ignorance. Yeah, that's all right. You'll learn this time. That's okay. But thank you for saying that. I feel that you have some critical thinking in that. You just never know. You don't want to say no to something. It's not like, unless somebody broke the law or makes something horrible, you never know what kind of blessing you welcome into your life when you say yes to an opportunity. Common sense is a genius in its working clauses. That's right. Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna look at the. I have some questions from members from Patreon and another. Okay, maybe I'll address them later. Okay, just a moment. Veronica, how do I donate? Oh, um, okay. Somebody asked me from the messenger. Jason, if you're still watching, you might have to watch a YouTube video how to do it. There is a dollar sign in the chat, and this is how you can donate if you like the video. Don't worry about it if you okay, right. Okay, another question. How long do I need to know a lady before meeting her children? How about this? I will make the video. How long do you need to know a lady before meeting her children? That would be a good video. So, guys, thank you so much for being active, responsive, even changing your opinions and being open to new insights. I'm always happy to share with you. Thank you. Terry, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. And everybody who had participated and commented and liked the video, I appreciate you very much. I'm very glad. that you find this topic helpful. I will see you very soon. I'm gonna do my very best to come this lunchtime, because the lunchtime it's basically a break between my occupations. So, and this is a time I make specifically for you. Um, so, thank you so very much.